The Unicorn King. Pearl pictured a big gaping wound that had been left on the rain dragon's head. How could someone do that to another living creature? Look, Ben said, pointing at the forest. A patch of trees swayed. Something was moving through the foliage, leaving a trail of rustling branches in its wake. Dr. Wu got to her feet. "Don't say a word," she ordered. Pearl and Ben stood, silently watching, as the movement headed toward the forest's edge. Then a wondrous sight appeared. Pearl nearly forgot how to breathe. He wasn't wearing a crown, but by the way he held his head high, Pearl knew she was looking at the Unicorn King. He stood at the bottom of the hill, a blaze of white against the green forest background. He was as large as the draft horses Pearl had seen at the Milky Dale County Fair. His neck and legs were thick with muscles, and his glossy mane looked like it was made of silk threads. His spiral horns sparkled as if it had been dipped in white glitter. He flared his nostrils and sniffed the air. Then he looked up at them and stomped his front hoof. Dr. Wu turned to Pearl and Ben. "Remain here and keep still. Any sudden movement might spook him." She removed her creature calculator from her pocket and carefully walked down the slope. Pearl pressed her shoulder against Ben's. "This is so amazing," she whispered. "Unbelievable," he agreed. Once Dr. Wu had reached the king, she placed her palms together and bowed. He dipped his head in return. Then, holding her creature calculator, Dr. Wu began to speak, but the kids couldn't make out the words. The unicorn nodded, then raised his upper lip and neighed. Dr. Wu read from the calculator. "It must be translating them," Ben said. "I thought unicorns would talk, the way Meadowmouth does." Pearl fiddled with one of the buttons on her lab coat. She could barely stand still. The king snorted. Both he and Dr. Wu bowed, then he turned and disappeared into the forest. Pearl bounced on her toes as Dr. Wu walked back up the hill. "What's going on?" Pearl asked. "What did he say?" "It's bad news, I'm afraid. The youngest member of the blessing is missing." She wandered into the darkest section of the forest, which is especially dangerous. The blessing is forbidden to enter that area, so they are unable to search for her. "Why would she wander off?" Ben asked. "Something made her curious," Dr. Wu said. Pearl frowned. "Or someone." Dr. Wu picked up her medical bag. "We must not jump to conclusions. A doctor must always assess the situation with logic. I have told the king that we will do our best. The dark forest awaits." "Huh? Are you saying that we're going in there?" Ben asked. "If it's too dangerous for unicorns, isn't it too dangerous for people?" "Ben Silverstein," Dr. Wu said patiently, "I will never force you to do something that makes you uncomfortable. You do not have to accompany us. You can stay here on the hill until we return. But Pearl," she placed her hand on Pearl's shoulder, "I need your help. The foal will only feel safe with the young girl. Will you go with me?" "Yes, of course. I want to go with you," Pearl said, jutting out her jaw. She was glad Dr. Wu hadn't listed all the dangers that lurked in the dark forest, or Pearl might have changed her mind. So Dr. Wu and Pearl headed down the hill. Halfway, Pearl glanced back over her shoulder. Ben stood at the top, a big frown on his face, the breeze blowing the hem of his lab coat. It was too bad he wasn't going with them, but she understood. Ben didn't like dangerous stuff. "Hey, wait!" he called, then started running down the hill. Pearl smiled as he caught up. "I want to help." Dr. Wu stopped at the forest's edge, where the grass ended and thick undergrowth began. "Very well. But remember what I told you," she said with a serious tone. "Do not eat or touch anything without checking with me. Our plan is this. We make our way through the tangled forest until we reach the dark wall. We enter the dark forest to begin our search. And finally, we evade predators and find the unicorn foal." "Predators?" Ben asked. Dr. Wu patted his shoulder. Focus on the first goal, Ben, which is the dark wall, and be as quiet as possible. She gripped her bag. Pearl took a deep breath. Quiet was not something that came easily to her. Whoever had named the tangled forest chose well, for there was no path. The undergrowth of ferns and vines was knit as tightly as one of Aunt Gladys's blankets. How were they going to get through without a machete or a weed whacker? Pearl wished she'd worn jeans, like Ben, so her legs would be protected from scratches. But then she stopped worrying because when Dr. Wu took a step, the branches and ferns moved aside, as if welcoming her. "Whoa," Ben said. As the doctor took another step, then another, the forest bowed, creating a narrow pathway. Dr. Wu motioned for her apprentices to follow. Pearl darted in front of Ben, but just as she took her first step, the undergrowth bent back into place, blocking the way. Dr. Wu had disappeared from sight.